Hi Glendale, I'm Meg Keller.
And I'm Michaela Injami.
And you're watching the Glendale 411.
Nathaniel Grindstaff is an exceptional student with big plans for the future.
Hannah Martin and Emerald Davis have the story.
The prayer of the children.
Nathaniel Grindstaff has been involved in choir since second grade. He now has the opportunity to perform in New York City.
I submitted an audition with voice and horn and made it on The Voice. At that moment when I got that email saying, you're going to go to Carnegie Hall, I was almost numb. Like, whoa, that's pretty cool, I guess. I didn't know what to think.
Despite having no intentions of pursuing a career in performing arts, Nathaniel still plans to do it for his own enjoyment.
All the music stuff is just kind of going to be extra, just because I enjoy doing it. My dreams are, to become a mechanical engineer. My dad's an engineer, so I wanted to do what he does every day. Regards to that, I think the first steps were just kind of visiting my dad's shop and seeing him work and kind of tinkering and trying to build things of my own.
Since a very young age, he always wanted to take things apart and put things together. I remember when he was 3 or 4 years old, he got some kind of Thomas the Train toy, and I'm a reader of instructions. I'm pretty methodical, and I was reading the instructions and I was putting it together wrong, and he said, no, that's wrong, and he took it from me and he fixed it and put it back together.
Similar to most, Nathaniel's parents only want what's best for him and his future.
I don't want him to end up in a profession that he hates and regrets. So basically do what he really wants to do. As long as he's really happy with what he does, I'll be behind that.
I want for him to do what makes him happy. I'm very proud at the path that he's using to make those decisions. He allows us to be part of that decision-making process, and I think he's got what it takes to do what he wants. A lot of parents might be sad when their child graduates, but it's just the next step. I'm really excited for him, and I'll support him in whatever he does.
Michelle Lewis, Sarah Snelson, and Morgan Schaefer shine a light on a unique tutoring center dedicated to helping students with dyslexia.
Noelle Life started the Springfield Center for Dyslexia after her children were diagnosed.
My oldest two were diagnosed with dyslexia in Shanghai, and then when we moved to Missouri, no one seemed to know what dyslexia was. So I started educating myself because I'm a teacher, and went to Dallas, Texas for training, came home and homeschooled my son, got 2 or 3 teachers to join me, and we began the center in 2015. We offer tutoring for students that are dyslexic, and you do not have to be tested for dyslexia. That medical testing is about $600 to $1,000. So we're just looking for students that are struggling and have exhausted their opportunities at their local school.
Basically, they start you out by essentially teaching you cursive, and then they work your way up to kind of try and build a better foundation of how you write and stuff like that. And then they build that up until you basically can just read better.
We've seen a lot of kids that are kind of battered and a little bit shy, timid. They don't like school, they don't like teaching, they don't like teachers, they don't like any of that. So we try to transition them into a loving, nurturing, learning environment.
Because I'm able to read stuff a lot better, and I'm able to actually I'm able to speak better, and just basically when you understand the world a lot better, if you think, oh man, I can never read anything right, and then you're like, oh, it's actually kind of clicking now, then you just become happier as a person and not you don't feel different more. So I think that's helped me a lot in that way.
We want the center to be a community for adults and for children. We're just trying to make it okay to be dyslexic.
Sexual assault claims have exploded in Hollywood, but this is not the only place that they occur.
Amanda Zimmerman, Elias Slavens, Michaela Injami, and I present this editorial commentary.
Cara Delevingne comes forward, claiming Harvey Weinstein sexually harassed her.
Matt Lauer fired over inappropriate sexual behavior.
Hollywood heavyweights accused of sexual misconduct.
They don't believe those accusers, and they want to know why all of this information is coming out nearly 40 years later.
They are not looking to move forward in the investigation centered around rape allegations against Harvey Weinstein.
I did try and she was married.
It's huge news there.
Rape. Matt Lauer, President Trump.
Sexual harassment is defined by Merriam-Webster Dictionary as uninvited and unwelcome verbal or physical behavior of a sexual nature, especially by a person in authority towards a subordinate. As unfathomable as this sounds, it happens far more often than you may think. Every 98 seconds, an American is sexually assaulted. Every 8 minutes, that victim is a child. Meanwhile, only 6 out of 1,000 perpetrators will end up in prison. These are sisters, nephews, friends, co-workers, and even celebrities. The thing these people have in common, they never imagined it could happen to them. But what is happening in Hollywood right now? A situation that has developed a large audience over social media is only understood by 82% of Glendale students. Some of the most controversial sexual harassment allegations have been made towards American film producer Harvey Weinstein. Weinstein has become the familiar face surrounding sexual harassment allegations in the United States. In October of 2017, the New York Times published a story detailing decades of sexual harassment allegations against Weinstein. After the news spread, it was discovered that 63 women and counting have come forward with allegations. Some of these women include Cara Delevingne, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Angelina Jolie. The bravery of these women to come forward triggered a movement that the public is calling the Weinstein effect. Hundreds of celebrities have voiced their experiences with sexual harassment since the first accusations took place. This movement has been labeled as unnecessary to some and courageous to others. Although it seems as a fight for women against men, sexual harassment is not limited to one gender. 15 men have come forward with allegations against Kevin Spacey. With fingers being pointed, many have expressed their concern for another point of view. What if these accusations are fake? These should not be taken lightly and should be met with equal repercussions. Sexual harassment is nothing new, but it's getting old. It's more than imperative to understand the dramatic effect that sexual harassment has on one's mental, physical, and emotional health. Although the numbers of adult sexual harassment are alarming, those of high school girls are even more eye-opening. According to the CDC, 42% of women report being raped under the age of 18, and 30% report being raped between the ages of 11 to 17. High schoolers exist in a very transitional time period of their lives, and something like this has the capacity to heighten or induce thoughts about self-harm, suicide, backlash, depression, anxiety, and even more for victims. Times article, The Silence Breakers, focuses on many celebrities that have come forward over the course of 2017 as being sexually assaulted or harassed. In this article, the Time concludes their argument by saying, "Norms evolve, and it's long past time for any culture to view harassment as acceptable. But there's a great deal at stake in how we assess these new boundaries, for women and men together. We can and should police criminal acts and discourage inappropriate, destructive behavior." As a society, we sometimes have trouble comprehending the extent of someone being accused of sexual harassment. It is common for bystanders to blame the victim in these situations. This could be a major contributor to the low number of cases reported. Since the news of sexual harassment has gone viral, movements such as the Me Too campaign have been gaining attention. Me Too is a way for millions of people to come forward with their stories in an attempt to make others feel less alone. With this information, we hope that you hold yourself and others accountable for their actions and make the right decision.
Many Glendale families have Christmas traditions, but one Glendale family goes a little bit further.
Audrey Mace and Caitlin West have the story.
The Huberts, a Glendale alumni family, have a special way of getting ready for Christmas each year.
There are several villages that you could choose from, and I chose the Dickens Village. So mine's Charles Dickens.
The Christmas Village is I guess a collection of these reproductions of buildings that are in the Dickens novels and I guess Old England.
After graduating from Glendale in 1979, Kathy started at Drury. Her boss gave her her first building for the village in 1989.
I don't like building it. Underneath the houses are the boxes that the pieces go in. And so they're stacked at different levels. Then the snow or the draping is put over it, and then we just kind of start setting it up. I like to look at this part as the city, and this is the outskirts of it. And then over there is the pond area. There are 40 buildings, but then we've also got, we've got the street lighter and the chimney sweep, which reminds me of Mary Poppins. We've got the quintet. We've got the Christmas tree lighting. So there's other pieces that are in there, not just the houses.
After their daughter was born, Steve started buying new buildings for the village each year.
It's just kind of fun to surprise her each year with a different house, and you know, the little groups of people and whatnot. I kind of like the people the best, I think. Yeah, it all becomes kind of a little narrative with little people and, you know, how they relate to the houses.
Because every year I get a new one or two, and then I like that one. I like the church up on top, the home for sick children. There's a couple of bars, the Globe. I guess I don't have a favorite, sorry.
You know, it's becoming, just in the last couple of years, it's kind of the start of the Christmas season when the whole family gets together right after Thanksgiving, and it just kind of kicks off the Christmas season. It's the first big family get together, and it's something I really look forward to this last few years.
Elf Jr. just finished up spreading holiday cheer at the Springfield Little Theater.
Tanner Brady and Landry Schneider have the story.
Elf is about a young man named Buddy who grew up at the North Pole, and he discovers that he is not in fact an elf like he always believed. He discovers that he is in fact a human, and he goes to New York on Santa's orders to go meet his human father, and he discovers that in New York not everybody has the Christmas spirit, so he feels personally tasked to bring that back to the city.
I am in the adult ensemble, and the role of a member of the adult ensemble is basically just like a New Yorker, and so kind of like follow Buddy around and just like in every scene that he's in New York City. The ensemble is mostly in, and we just like we react and we learn from Buddy. We learn from his charm and his charisma because we're just New Yorkers and we don't have as much Christmas spirit. So by the end of the show, in the last scene is when it really gets to everyone, and that's where we all have as much Christmas spirit as we need to make Santa's sleigh fly.
Elf is definitely different than the other shows we've got going on this season because it's a Christmas show and it appeals so heavily to the younger generation, but it also appeals to the people who are older or who are my age who just grew up with this movie or just really enjoy it. It's so funny. Elf, the film, of course, is very popular, and the musical takes a lot of that and makes it just a little more sing-songy. Elf is really important to me because it's a story of family and the spirit of Christmas, not just getting presents and the decorations and everything like that. It's really about finding your family and being surrounded by people you love. And Springfield Little Theater, I really feel, is a family and is filled with love, and I think that's what made it really special for me.
Thanks for watching.
Check us out on social media at the Glendale 411.
Signing out, I'm Meg Keller.
And I'm Michaela Injami.